Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Faithful Dawgs. I'm Ted from Ted Talks Ball, the faithful side. This is Mike, Big Mike from the Man Cave 10. He's the Dawgs part, the Cleveland Browns part. Mike, how are you doing on this fine Thursday?
I'm all right. Just trying to figure all this out now all of a sudden because I walked into it.
That's right. Mike was telling me backstage that his internet is down. So we're getting an up and down view, a phone view for the show. You look good. I wouldn't even have known if you hadn't told me. Actually kind of fits your jersey and poster kind of perfectly into the frame.
Yeah, I know. I tried to do that at least.
Yeah, it looks nice. Looks nice. So obviously got a big week here. Big week for us 49ers fans. We got the Detroit Lions coming to town. And the Ravens are hosting the Chiefs. And then the winner of those two games will be our participants in the Super Bowl. Obviously, a lot to talk about with the games over the weekend. Niners, Packers, Lions beating the Bucks, Ravens beating the Texans, and the Chiefs obviously beating the Bills, and probably the most exciting game of the week. Well, I don't know. The Niners game was pretty exciting too. I wouldn't say unexpectedly, but more than I expected, I guess I would say. I thought we might have a little more padding in that game. But Mike, talk to me. Tell me what your thoughts are. What do you want to start talking about first? The world is your oyster. I'm going to go ahead and fix the banner to give all the information here.
Well, we can start with the Packers Nines. I mean, I said it was going to be a close game. I mean, like you said, weather was going to have a hand in it. I felt the Packers' pressure would have a hand in it. And Jordan Love played outside his mind besides that mistake at the end where he went cross-body across the field. But, I mean, he did everything he could to try to do something. And then Purdy, he didn't look so Purdy, throughout the game. But at that end, he did exactly what we know him to do. And he led that charge down the field and went and scored that touchdown and, capitalized and got that W. And, I mean, that game was exciting. I mean, it was, a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of good football is what that was. I'm glad these games have been good. Like, I don't want blowouts. Even the Ravens-Texans game. That was close until halfway through the third. I mean, it was tied at halftime. I mean, you're like, man, holy shit. Then the Ravens D clamped down and said, nah, we're done with this. Like a cat playing with a toy. Batted it around a little bit and finally killed it.
Yeah, there was a big-time Niners content creator who tweeted something out about, the Texans are, I don't know, something about they're making the Ravens look shook or whatever. And I was just like, of course I had to give them a little update afterwards because they didn't look so shook at the end. But the Texans came out strong. I thought it was interesting while we're talking about Texans and also the Pack that they both elected to receive the opening kickoff and they both lost. Very interesting decision on both parts. I don't think either one scored well, I guess the Packers scored a field goal on their opening drive, but I don't think the Ravens scored or Texans scored on their opening drive. And that's sort of the whole point of doing that. I talked to some Lions creators this week, and at least one of them was dead certain that if the Lions win the toss, that they'll elect to receive the football because apparently there's a lot of parallels between us and the Lions. They're kind of a front-running team too. They play well with a lead, not so well when it's tied or from behind. Sounds very familiar to us 49ers fans. And so I told him, I'm like, well, if that's the case, then you could pretty much lay a bet down that the Lions will start with the ball because Kyle loves to defer till the second half to try and get that last possession of the first half and the opening kickoff of the second half. He did it against the Packers. The problem was we didn't score on either drive. but it was an example of why you try and do that. If we had scored at least just 3 at the end of the half, and we got the block kick by Moody instead, and then maybe 3 or 7, ideally 7, we could have been a whole different ball game. We could have been in command of that second half instead of fighting for our lives. I'm not gonna say I hit the panic button, but I was definitely really, really nervous. I thought the Niners were gonna lose. I thought there was a real good chance of us losing, barring some miracle like a Dre Greenlaw interception, which he got one, and then he called his shot, said I might just mess around to get a second one, and sure as hell he did. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, he did.
Pretty wild. So let's say hi to the chat real quick. We got Furman Joust in the Furman Joust YouTube. He must have a channel, so welcome.
Going on, Furman.
Everybody, make sure you check him out. Give him a like and subscribe. That's a good thing to know that we're on TED Talks Ball. We're on the Man Cave 10. I guess it's 8172 on YouTube. The link is in the description of the show for Mike's channel. But actually, links for both of our shows are in there. So yeah, if you're on Mike's channel, hop over, give me a like and subscribe. If you're on my channel, hop over, give Mike a like and subscribe. If you're on a browser, open up 2 tabs. It's not too difficult. In fact, I'm doing it now. I'm going to take my own advice, and that way we can get the most watch hours possible. It really helps us in our monetization endeavors. So let's see what else. I'm still just typing in 8172. There we go. Yeah, I mean, shoot, there was Purdy said it. Purdy didn't play that well. I mean, we've been talking since before the Bengals game, I believe, was when we first started.
Yeah.
Our diatribes here, and ever since then, you've been hearing me say that I didn't think Purdy was that I thought Purdy was a fair weather quarterback. In other words, not like a fair weather fan, but that he struggles with a wet ball. And what do you know? He comes out against the Pack and he's wearing a glove. It's like, wow, way to wave the white flag. If anybody who is still holding on to that notion that he was good in wet weather, that pretty much killed it. And he got rid of it fairly quickly. Same way that Jalen Hurts came out with a glove, different reasons. Purdy was doing it because of the wet weather. Jalen Hurts had the injured finger that he was trying to protect.
Yeah.
And they both got rid of him quickly. Purdy, not until he had thrown one right into the breadbasket of a defender, though. And it made me think that, it helps you get better grip when you have a wet football to have that glove on. But then, you can't control the grip. And, when you're trying to release the ball, it's still gripping. And then it's hooking the ball or causing the ball to go different places than where you had actually aimed it. So kind of interesting. But yeah, so give us both like and subscribe. Check us out on both tabs if you can. And let's see what else we got here. We got the Real Fresh channel in the house. This is where my dog's at. Real Fresh.
Real Fresh.
He's part of the Let's Talk Sports DM group that we're a part of. We all retweet each other's shows to help get us more views out there on the Twitter and X land. So thanks for being here, Real Fresh. Everybody make sure you check out his channel. Give him a like and subscribe. We got Beautiful Bearded Bastards.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like another
Triple
YouTube
B's.
channel. The Triple
B's.
B's.
It's a great show. They got
There
a great
you go.
podcast over there.
My beard's pretty lacking. It's more like stubble, but at least I'm trying. I shave it every week, though, because the problem is the longer it gets, the more gray it gets. And then, I can't have that. It's just, I know I'm old, but, I don't need everybody else to know how old I am. Bow wow. Woof, woof. Got the Back It Up Binge podcast. Man, we got,
oh, yeah.
creator heaven here. Welcome, Back It Up Binge. Come on in. Everybody make sure you give him a like and subscribe. Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights, another YouTube channel. He is a Rams fan, folks, but don't hold it against him. He's pretty cool. I will say. We got Rick Diaz in the house. He's a big Niners
Going
fan.
on, Rick?
Says, what's up? Says, almost Sunday. Going to be a good game. Absolutely. Lions are a good team, but they're very young. Can I take any team lately? It's true. I don't think he means can't take any team lightly, I think is what he meant.
Yeah.
No, it's very true. It's one and done. No one's assured to be playing, I'd say next week, but obviously it's in 2 weeks in February in Vegas for the Super Bowl, for the championship, for the ring, the Lombardi, all that good stuff, the crown. We're saying hi. Rick's saying, I want to give respect to Cleveland Browns. Good team. Yep. Very good team. Just really banged up. 4 different QBs. Hey, got some follows on Twitter. Outstanding. Thank you.
There you go.
Triple B. Appreciate that. There you go. 49ers do have to focus, no doubt. You got to play all 4 quarters. There we go. Let's just go. So I will say I still haven't seen the end of the Lions Bucks game. I was watching from behind and fast forwarding through all the commercials, and when it got to be 14 down, the Lions up by 14 with 7 to go, I figured that's probably it.
Yeah.
But it did look like they got close enough to where they were within 8 when Baker threw his interception. So I guess I probably shouldn't have turned off quite so soon. But I wanted to switch over. I was getting behind then on the Chiefs and Bills. I didn't want to be behind that, the whole game. I wanted to be able to tweet and have it, make sense, and not be like something that happened 20 minutes previous. But yeah, there were good games. They were all good games. Bills, Chiefs, kind of heartbreaking if you're a Bills fan. Obviously, if you just missed to the left, I think it would have been a lot less painful. But those words wide right for Bills fans have been stinging since the 90s.
Since Norwood.
Yeah. Like the fake punt, I kind of understood it at the time because they're kind of going back and forth. But then, of course, afterwards they both had stops. You're like, oh well, maybe they didn't need to fake the punt.
I didn't get that at all. On your own 30, you play this. No, and you don't do a fake punt or run. If you're gonna do something like that on your own 30, you try to throw the damn ball at least. Do something or do a little screen to it. Not, God, that was just.
At least they used DeMar Hamlin because how mad can you get at him, right?
Nah, the coaching is the reason why the Bills lost. I mean, that play, those other things, it was a
Get some big drops too, though. Diggs had
Stephon Diggs dropped that big ball. That was huge.
Sherfield had 2 big drops.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And then obviously the kicker missed, I mean.
I'm just not going to put that on Allen. People are putting it on Allen.
No, hell no, not Josh Allen.
I'm definitely not putting it on him.
Dude, I should say never, but I like Josh Allen a lot. Like even when he struggled this year, I was still saying he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. Maybe Burrow, I don't know, but with Rodgers out, I think he's a pretty easy second after Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. We got Silly Fun Guy in the house. Says, hello, y'all. Glad to see CMC in the OPY finals. I thought CMC won the OPY. Did I not see that? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just saw
there's a bunch. The finalists have been announced. Is what I saw for a lot of them.
I saw for the MVP. I saw that. I saw Purdy made it. Lamar, Josh Allen, CMC, in Dak Prescott. I don't know how the hell you could give it to him. But anyway, that's another story. I mean, he did ball out during the regular season, I guess. But
yeah, that's what it is. It's a regular season award, but he's still no.
Yeah, shush. So hopefully, Slay Fungi will break out some good dad jokes too. You can always count on him for that for sure. And good takes as well. So what else? Yeah, so Bills, poor Bills. It's heartbreaking. they got so many free agents this offseason too. It looks like they're going to have to do it a different way if they do it again next year.
There's got to be some change there. They got to do something with that defense. They need to add another wide receiver. They need a true wide receiver too.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. For the Bills, I said it. For the Chiefs, maybe Rashee Rice is that guy, but if he's not, they need a second weapon to go with Kelsey. And
Yeah.
I said it for the Ravens with Mark Andrews. They need somebody else. Maybe it's Zay Flowers. Maybe it's Isaiah Likely. They got some pretty viable options in house there, but you can't just only have one elite weapon in this league, even with an elite quarterback. In my opinion, I think you need. I mean, ideally, you want 3 or 4, but that's tough to afford, or and not have other areas on your team sorely lacking because of it. You just got to hit on some draft picks is really what it comes down to get some cheap talent, because you can't pay everybody top of the market, as we all know.
Yeah.
And then, Texans, Ravens. You picked the Texans, right, Mike?
No, I had the Ravens. I said it was going to be close.
Okay. All right.
And in the end, it wasn't, but.
There you go. Yeah, but it was for a while, and the Texans even had the lead for a minute.
Yeah.
For a hot minute. So there you go. Yeah, with the Niners, Purdy is not a wet weather quarterback. Luckily, doesn't look like it's supposed to rain this weekend. Like last week, it was going back and forth all week. But even when it wasn't supposed to rain on Saturday for us, it was like raining on Friday and Sunday. And I just remember saying, well, if the Friday rain lingers or the Sunday rain comes early, then we might get some. We sure did. But it rained yesterday here, and the forecast the whole time has been Wednesday to Wednesday, no rain. And it still looks like that. Now, it could change, but every day closer, it gets less likely it'll change. I'd say by tomorrow, we'll feel pretty good if you're 48 hours out. And and it's still looking sunny. I did say, M&T is not NRG. As far as everyone's like, oh, well, Stroud could play in the cold and everything, but I mean, it was cold. It was like, like 23 degrees and then like 5 degrees with the wind chill or something like that. And it was loud at M&T, and that Ravens defense just fed off it eventually, not right at first, but those types of things tend to play out over the course of a game. Silly just double checked offense. Okay. All right. So it must have been that CMC was just a finalist. I could swear. I quote tweeted the tweet about it. And maybe, it wasn't like a big person who did it. It was like a Niners person. Yeah. And maybe they goofed, and maybe they just said he had won it.
No,
when he had only.
I'll say, because that's all. Everything else was just a finalist still. The coach of the year, assistant coach, defensive player of the year, comeback player. That was all still just in a finalist stage. So I figured that there's no way offensive player could have been done yet.
Or maybe this is something different. Okay, so this is why I got confused. The tweet says 49ers Christian McCaffrey has been named PFWA writers.
Oh yeah, the writers. Yeah, that's done because Myles Garrett won that for defensive player.
Okay. So it's not like the official NFL. Got it. So that's where my confusion came.
Yeah.
I was like, I swear I saw he had won it, not that he was just a finalist. So yeah. All right, I'm not losing my mind. I'm just not reading with full comprehension, which happens to me quite a bit. So we got Almighty Finesse in the house. He says, was good. Better now that you're here. Thanks for joining. So I got the Lions going to the Super Bowl. I just say don't bet your rent money. But no, it should be a hell of a game. If the Lions get an early lead, they could do it. They have a great run game. They have a great run defense. If I'm a Lions fan or if I'm betting on the Lions, I'm just worried about their corners, not their nickel corner, but their boundary corners. Cam Sutton and Kindle Vildor.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. They got this guy off the street like 5 weeks ago, bro. Like, you want to put him on Debo and Ayuk?
Yeah. Listen, is Debo going to play, or what's going on with that?
Well, I think so. I think it's just gamesmanship. I think it's just Kyle loves to wait till the last second to ever make any announcement, because his theory is, if I don't say it, then they have to prepare half for with Debo and half for without. And then whichever one is wrong, they wasted half their reps doing that. Now, whether that's true or not, my thought is the DC for the Lions is like, hey, we're preparing for Debo.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that, because no matter how you prepare, it's still a
Yeah.
better guy, a better option than what would step in for him,
Yeah. No. And we can talk some more about that. Or we can talk about it now. I guess I'm not super far behind in the chat. Well, let me just get some chat to remind me of this, okay?
Do you think?
Got Shardal Gupta in the house saying, hi, Ted. Hey, Shardal, how you doing? Oh, Shardal, didn't you say the Browns were going to lose out and not make the playoffs? Didn't you?
Oh, yeah, look at that, buddy.
I think so. So I think Mike and I both told you no. just you know me. I'm a receipts guy.
Yeah.
I try to be nice on the show, but sometimes that super petty Teddy timeline guy shows up. What's your prediction for Sunday's game against the Lions? We can jump into that now if you want. We can wait.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
All right, what's your prediction, Mike?
I think it's going to be close. It'll be a close game, but I got the Niners winning. But I think it'll be more like it'll probably be something like what the Chiefs Bills game was, 24-21, something like that.
Yeah, I got 31-24. So I don't know. I thought 7 points was a little bit high for the spread, but yet still I got a 7-point spread on there. That's assuming that Debo plays. If Debo doesn't play, it's going to be a lot closer. And I think we'll score less too. Silly here says, what kind of tea is hard to swallow? Reality. Oh. It's true for some people. For the homers and the haters, reality can be difficult to swallow for sure. Jimmy Perez in the house says, what's up, Ted and Mike?
What's going on, Jimmy?
Jimmy, good to see you. Got the Lee Gallen in the house. He says, evening, buddy. Will be a close game on Sunday. Lions O-line is great at run blocking, but not so great pass protection. We will get pressure on Goff, and Goff will crumble. If we do, those are my keys to the game for the 49ers is pressure Goff and shut down Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty, David Montgomery. They have a really Lions fans feel like they're the best backfield in the NFL. Maybe with Chubb injured, maybe that's the case. I could see the claim to that, because I love the Niners backfield, but let's be honest, we really haven't seen much from Elijah Mitchell or JP Mason until I know what they are this year. So it's not really fair to count them as part of the backfield, in my opinion. But yeah, and so Lee is part of the 49ers Faithful UK. He's El Presidente. Paul Hope is the vice pres. He said that I thought I was going live at 12:30 today with a Lions fan, but something must have happened. I don't know. But I think Lee and the 49ers Faithful UK were recording their episode. So everybody make sure and check out their championship preview episode. They do good stuff there. Berto Soto in the house says he's playing 1,000%. I really think so. Here's the deal, though. Here's what I will say about Debo. If he doesn't play, it'll hurt, obviously. Obviously, Debo is one of one. He's incredible talent. And he and Christian McCaffrey make an incredible 1-2 punch for us. But it'll hurt less than him going down in the Packers game hurt us, because at least we'll have practiced all week without him.
Yeah.
And maybe Ray could fill in, or my personal best option would be to put CMC in Debo's role and then bring in Elijah Mitchell to backfill CMC, because Elijah Mitchell is maybe a better runner than CMC. He's not the same receiver, obviously, but I think he's a better runner, and he never fumbles. Guy never fumbles. So I'd love to see one of those, either Ray directly replacing Debo or CMC replace Debo, backfill CMC with Elijah Mitchell. We'll see if any of that happens. Maybe a little JP Mason too. I really like him. I'd love to see more of him as well too. Charles saying hi, Jimmy. Hi, Lee. 34-26 Niners. He's a little more. Well, it's about kind of the similar 8-point spread. I like it. But yeah, I mean, the Lions have a hell of a run game. Amon-Ra St. Brown is he arguably the best receiver in the NFL? Probably not. Tyreek Hill probably takes that claim, but I think he's in that top 3, top 5.
Oh yeah, he's in the upper echelon for sure. I mean, Amon, great route running. He's got some speed. Hands are ridiculous.
Real strong, kind of Debo-esque in some ways.
Yes.
No one's Debo, but he might be one of the closer ones as far as power. The St. Brown family has a lot of powerlifting in their background. What are your top 5 keys to victory for 49ers over the Lions? So I was starting on that. I was saying pressure Goff, stop the run, protect Ambry Thomas, but which is tough because you also have to protect Logan Ryan if he plays or Jair Brown if he plays. So boundary corner and safety are weaknesses for us. Right tackle, protect Colton McKivitz. I think that's 5. Those would be my.
Yeah, that's 5.
The other one is just Purdy protect himself. We love his poise. We love that he's able to keep his attention downfield when all hell's breaking loose. Sometimes you need to pay attention to all hell breaking loose to avoid the strip sack or the injury. We saw it again against the Packers where a free rusher came from the right edge and there was no internal clock with Purdy, no awareness. He just got smeared, and luckily didn't get injured. Luckily it wasn't a strip sack, but keep that up and those will come. Those will come. How about you? What are your 5 keys to victory?
Listen, I feel like you guys need to play the short game. Don't go long. If you attack them short, I think you guys will get a lot of yak. It'll turn into that. UCMC on screens. Little 10-yard or 5-yard ins and outs. Short slants over the middle. Because I don't think they're tough in the middle. I truly believe, like I said, once you get past the pressure of it all, I think you guys will be fine. If you can protect Purdy and make sure he stays upright and he's not touched, that's a huge thing. And defensively, it pretty much is. If you can make the Lions one-dimensional, shut down the run game or put the pressure on that to where Goff has to win this game, it won't happen. I mean, Goff's proven and he hasn't been able to do that. Every now and then you'll see him do it, but again, it's more or less Gibbs or Monty. Someone big has to step up for him to do it. But
there you go. Alberto says blitz down the middle and take advantage of their O-line injury. Jonah Jackson, their left guard, is out. It's a big loss. Any of their O-linemen are big losses because their O-linemen are all top tier, top shelf. But if you were going to pick one to lose, that's probably the one you pick. It's not Ragnow. It's not Sewell. It's not the left.
Well, Ragnow had problems too, though. So who knows? He isn't going to be 100%.
Right. He does have a knee and an ankle injury, sprained knee, sprained ankle. And then obviously Glasgow at right guard is better than Jonah Jackson at left guard. He's all pro versus Pro Bowl type of thing. Yeah. But still, I mean, it's like, embarrassment of riches on that Lions offensive line for sure. They run the ball well. They stop the run, which is always a worry for the 49ers. I would say it's a death note if you're Jimmy G is the 49ers quarterback if you can't run the ball, but it's not far from it with Brock Purdy. Purdy adds a little something that Jimmy didn't with his escapability and just not making the boneheaded plays barely at all. But everything keys off the run for the 49ers. And if that's not working, our offense is severely disadvantaged. We don't have a pass blocking O-line where you can just drop back and pass. Lee Gallen said, protect the ball, win the turnover, control the clock. That's hard to do if you can't run the ball. I suppose you could do, screens and things like that. Short passing.
Short game.
Yeah, short game might be the key to take advantage of those corners. But one thing that is a concern is, obviously they got Aiden Hutchinson on the deal, and obviously they have Aleem McNeil, but there's a name that people may not be super familiar with that maybe, he was actually already cleared to play for the Bucks, and they just decided he wasn't ready. So I think we will almost certainly see this gentleman, and I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. I'll just go to my handy dandy depth chart. James Houston.
Oh yeah,
he was in Aiden Hutchinson's draft class. He had a big game against the Bills. I guess he had 8 sacks in 7 games. He broke his ankle and then sprained his ankle coming back from the broken leg or ankle. And he got the high wire surgery. And so apparently he can only pass rush from the defensive right. So against Trent Williams, that should limit his effectiveness some, because Trent Williams is a hell of a defensive end. But Lions fans were singing his praises. And so I'm just letting it out there for people who I hadn't heard of him before. And so, or wasn't paying attention if I had. So that's something that would be a little bit scary if they do have a bookend for Hutch.
Yeah.
And then obviously Aleem McNeil in the middle is a monster. So that could make things tough. And then obviously, they got Jack Campbell and Anzalone linebackers. Campbell was a slow starter as a rookie, but he's coming on. Anzalone's pretty underrated, I would say. And then CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kirby Joseph, and Iffy, something like that. Another safety. It's pretty good. And then obviously they have that young nickel corner that they drafted, who they like a lot. Their boundary corners are not good, but it's Ifeatu Melifonwu is who I was trying to think of. It's strong safety. And then Brian Branch is the nickel corner, who is very good. You might see him blitzing. Might see a lot of those guys blitzing. Iffy as well too. CJ Gardner-Johnson, So their defense, while it's not like as good as the 49ers, it's been getting better. And Aiden Hutchinson's been really hot for like the last 4 games or so. He's been on a tear. Like I said, Goff is not great, but if you give him time, he can pick you apart. And then beyond Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously they have Laporta, who is a total stud as a rookie. I think he's already in that top 5 tight end conversation.
Agree.
Then you got Reynolds, who's the security blanket, who's been on fire in the playoffs because he and Goff has this chemistry going back to when they played on the Rams together. He's also probably the oldest weapon on the Lions. Like, he got there, I remember, a year or 2 ago, and that's when their offense really started to click, was when Josh Reynolds got there. And then obviously they also have JMO, not Antoine Jameson, but
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams, thank you. And then if that's not enough, there's a chance that their kick returner might be back too, who is a decent wide receiver as well. What's his name? Kick returner. Khalif Raymond, punt returner. So he's not assured to play, but again, it's one of those games where like if you can play, there may not be a next week or next 2 weeks if you don't.
Oh yeah, you're playing.
Yeah. Alberto Soto says Armstead and Hargrave should be able to eat this game. Should help in the middle there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some 5-man lines with Javon Kinlaw and or what's his name? Oh man, we have a defensive tackle who we redshirted last year who was an ACL, or was it this year? And he's sort of like a DJ Jones clone. I better bring up the Niners depth chart. But Kalia Davis, I did it before the chart came up. In fact, the chart's still not up. Kalia Davis is his name, and he's sort of a DJ Jones clone. He's not quite as good against the run as DJ Jones, but he's a pretty good pass rusher. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some 5-man lines against this Detroit Lions offensive line to make it harder for them to double team, basically, when you do that. So that'll be interesting to see for sure. Charles says top 5 players on the San Francisco 49ers. You want me to go first, Mike?
I mean, I can go. I mean, CMC, Williams,
Yep.
Fred Warner, Debo, and you got to put Brock Purdy in there.
Yeah. I think Bosa probably goes, and Dre is working his way in there after the 2 picks. And he's just such an enforcer. And I don't know how you leave Kittle off just because of his blocking and his pass catching ability as Yak. It's tough. It's hard to narrow it down to just 5. I get more like 8 when
it is hard because, like, again, you got to put Trent Williams in there. I mean, the man.
Oh, yeah. Trent's the best.
That's why I had to have him. You got to have Fred, who runs the defense.
Yeah, Fred's been better than both of this season, so I'd put him in there first. But
then of course CMC and Purdy, and then Debo's doing Debo things.
I don't know about Purdy. Especially
you got to put him in there. If
the ball's dry, he is. But in what weather?
I get where you're at with that, but I'm still got to put him in there.
I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
Because without him, they don't go nowhere.
Huh. Oh, this one. There you go. I played it. I just didn't read it. I don't necessarily read them all. Tebow is an absolute beast. Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
If they both is a bad idea for Lionel, take advantage of that. Yeah, I mean, Purdy and Jordan Love were the 2 best quarterbacks against the blitz and pressure this season. They were both like 1-3 and 2-3 against the blitz and pressure. So it's tough, but what are you going to do? Just sit back there and just wait for him to pick you apart? You can't do that either. So you got to get pressure, and you got to have coverage on the back end, and that's where Detroit's going to be in trouble because they don't have. And Kim Sutton and Vildor don't impress me. Kalia Davis, there you go. Thank you, Lee. I have a number 19 jersey. Oh, he repeated it. Thanks, Chardall. There you go. Top 5 Niners of all time. Moments. I mean, the catch is number 1.
Of course.
Yeah. And that's kind of universal.
The Steve Young scramble, that's got to be up there.
It does have to be up there. God, all time. Jeez Louise. There's so many great ones to pick from. I think the John Taylor catch to beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
After he hadn't had a catch the whole game. And it was like, game-winning drive. Right? Because 2 of the Niners Montana Super Bowls were blowouts. Or, well, no, one was. The Broncos was a blowout. The Dolphins wasn't real close. but the two Bengals games were pretty close. So the one with the come from behind TD to win it, that's up there all time for me for sure. Honestly, like Merton Hanks doing the funky chicken in the 94 NFC Championship game when we finally beat Dallas to go to that Super Bowl to beat up on the Chargers. That's up there. Just because I hated the Cowboys so bad. So that's probably my top 5 somewhere in there.
T.O. standing on the star.
No
You don't
T.O.
like
moments.
that?
No T.O. moments. No, I just T.O. I like him, but I don't. There was so much bad blood. I'm not putting him on my Rushmore +1. Ken James, Detroit, Lions going to beat Jazz. Miss Purdy's going to choke. Okay. All right, Kenny, don't bet your rent money, buddy. But hey, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I think the Lions are a really good team. I don't think either team will get blown out. And
No.
yeah, Lions are a great young team, so beautiful future. I don't think it's this year for you guys. But stranger things have happened. I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility. And like Mike, I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah.
At least for a while. I do think the Niners will pull it. Our talent will show through in the end.
Listen, people are going to be having heart attacks again. It'll be just like the Packers game. It's going to come down to the end.
Oh man. Dion, Niner Gang podcast in the house. Make sure you check him out. Give him a like and subscribe. Says what's up. Better now that you're here, Dion. Welcome. Chiefs, Ravens, and how many yards do you think Patrick Mahomes will throw for? Well, I think it'll be low scoring because the Chiefs and the Ravens both have really good defenses. The Chiefs were able to score against the Bills, but man, their defense is like walking wounded. Yeah, they did get what's his bucket back? The defensive tackle, Daquan Jones.
Oh yeah,
they did get him back finally, but the rest of that defense was so banged up. They had like 0 linebackers. And, the Ravens have Patrick Queen, and they have, obviously, more importantly, Roquan Smith, who's up there in that conversation with Fred as who's the best middle linebacker in the NFL. I saw that meme today out on the timeline. I put in my vote for Fred, but I can see why people would say Roquan. He's outstanding.
Yeah, he's a monster. I'm going to say, Patty's gonna have to throw. I'm gonna say 275 and under for passing yards. But yeah, the score is gonna be one of those ones. It'll probably be 21-17 type stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was like 17-14 or something like that.
Yeah, it could be any of that, really.
Yeah. I think it'll be low scoring, but and who's winning, Mike?
No, I think the Ravens win.
Me too. Same here. No doubt. The catch it's arguably the most iconic picture in NFL history, so it's definitely hard not to be a favorite for 49er fans.
Yeah.
What else? So as far as, the interesting thing for Detroit is they don't trust their kicker, Badgley, just like we don't trust Moody.
Good reasons for both.
Because another meaning of Moody is unpredictable. Let me ask you this, Mike. I've had somebody say something about this, and I was like, huh? Moody's block kick, was it going in? Just from what you saw. I mean, hard to tell. But, okay, thank you.
It was going straight down the middle.
That's what I thought. The guy who did it was in
That
the
dude's
middle.
big ass hand went up there and snatched that
I've
thing.
had two people. That's what I was saying. Like if he gets blocked, it's probably in the middle because people on the edges don't bother to put
No,
their
yeah,
hand.
it was blocked straight at the middle. It was going in.
Yeah. So I had my Monday host say, Pedro, say that he thought he's the one who brought it up, and I was like, I don't know. I still haven't rewatched it to get a definitive opinion on it. But all I rewatched was just to get my avatar and my banner for Twitter X to some photos to post. And then another host I was with said that he thought that it was a miss too. That was already going left, and that
it was, but it wasn't. Even if it was still going left, it was going to go. It was going to be good.
Okay, all right. Plus, you never know at Levi's. He might have been compensating for the wind too. It's not super windy at Levi's, but it's always windy. Not always, but it's often windy there. It's often a 15, 20 mile an hour breeze there in Santa Clara. There's not much to stop the wind out there. It's just flat compared to most of California has hills. So interesting. Yeah. So that's, I thought that was interesting that they don't trust their kicker either. What else did I learn this week?
Especially now that's going to be outside. You're gonna see Dan Campbell. I'm willing to bet he goes for it on a lot of fourth downs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he went for the most this season, but I mean, I do think if you're playing against a better defense, you'd be smarter to go for it a little bit less than usual.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
Because,
I think
because there's a lot of bad defenses out there in the NFL, and like we ain't one of them. Regardless of, we have some weak spots for sure, but
yeah,
overall we're a pretty good defense. I have been saying this week that Niners defensive line is overpaid and overrated.
Well, there's a lot of money out there. There's definitely a lot of money on it.
A lot of money. I mean, Bosa is like 35.
Yeah.
Armstead 17. Hargrave 19. And
Chase Young.
Chase,
but
yeah,
he's going to be gone. So
we didn't pay him anything, but somebody did.
He didn't really have to.
The Commanders did. But
you might get something for him. He's going to leave. He's going to get a third round.
Yeah. So that's why he was a good deal. But like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was always pretty much like, yeah, I think we didn't pay much, but I wasn't really that sure we got much, even when it first happened. I was never one of those like, oh, we got Chase Young, our prayers have been answered, because I knew we wanted Montez Sweat more. I knew we wanted Brian Burns more, and I knew that, the Commanders wouldn't have let him go for a comp third and ate his salary if there wasn't something a little bit, need a little work. And I remember the Commanders fans in my YouTube chat, comments were saying like, oh, he just chases personal stats. I think I did say, well, what else is he supposed to do when there's no wins to chase, on the Commanders? Like, I mean, I would too. But we started to sort of see that a little bit, like with the Ravens. He took that deep, you're supposed to, with a mobile QB, you're supposed to just go only as deep as the quarterback, wait and mush rush, wait for help. And then once everybody's all there, then you go for the sack, once you got him surrounded. And he tried to go in like the cavalry and went a little deep and almost sacked Lamar, but didn't. And then Lamar scored it free and got his biggest run of the game. So, he did, I will say this about Chase Young. He did on the tush push or whatever you want to call it, the sneak by Jordan Love. He was the one who stopped Jordan Love. So, so I'll give him credit there. I'm not saying he's a bust or anything. It's just all the people who are just like, oh, you got
again, he switched teams mid-season. So, again, you're starting over. You're getting acclimated to everything.
And he's still coming off that ACL, too. That can take a long time. But bottom line is he just doesn't have like a lot of moves. He doesn't seem like he's not like the Bosas. Everybody thought, oh, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young. It's just going to be this next in the progression of these great offensive Ohio State defensive ends.
Yeah.
And and I just think Chase Young has always been a little overrated. I thought he was a little overrated when he came out, and I didn't think he was ever going to be Nick, and that was before the ACL, and then obviously he's had the ACL that set him back even more. So, let's see here. If you're going to have a Super Bowl party, what foods are you going to have on your menu? Pizza, wings,
nachos,
libations for those who partake, some brewskis, maybe some fireball shots. Who knows? Been a long time since Sundays, though, sadly. See here. The Super Bowl between the Ravens and 49ers was also fun because it would be the first time two teammates from Iowa State would be playing against each other, Purdy versus Kolar. I don't even know who Kolar is. But that's a good tidbit, Chardall. Thank you. It'd also be fun because either way, if the Niners make the Super Bowl, we got a chance at revenge.
Yeah.
Ravens from 2012 and Chiefs from 2019. Personally, I want the Chiefs because, Flacco's gone. We can't beat him, but we can beat Mahomes, who beat us, and that would be the best revenge of all. But there's still organizational revenge. It'd still be nice to beat the Ravens. Better than I didn't want to beat the Browns in the Super Bowl. That would have sucked because you guys finally freaking make it. And then here's the meaning 49ers spoiling your parade. Well, just like everybody now, it's kind of the feeling this weekend for the NFC Championship game. The Lions have never been to the Super Bowl, and the Niners are going to stop them.
Well, that's too bad. You got to have a team to win.
I said, I'm happy being the spoiler. I don't care. I'll be the heel. As long as we get our ring, I don't care. I don't care as long as we get number 6. But that's a long way from now. We just got to take care of business this weekend.
That's right. That's right. First things
first.
Charlie
Kolar. Is he the tight end, maybe? Charlie Kolar? That sounds familiar.
I don't know, man. It sounds like a kicker or defensive player.
All right. I'm going to have to look it up.
Maybe an offensive lineman. They just don't one of those names that you just don't hear a lot of.
Tight end. Boom.
Wow.
Good.
So you don't ever hear that name because it's Likely and Andrews.
Yeah.
You heard Kolar a little bit because
he's on the team. He probably won't see the field, but unless they do a 3 tight end packet. Or maybe, Likely I don't think and Andrews are not much of blockers. So if he's a good blocker, maybe he gets out there more than we think.
Yeah.
And you just don't hear his name called because he doesn't get targets and catches. Seem to recall Goff playing against Niners. I expect him to see ghosts. Yeah, there's some of that. The Lions fans I talked to, it sounded like when they explained Goff was a lot like, they don't trust him in bad weather for starters, or outside in general, and they are saying he's not a good deep ball thrower. His deep balls are not accurate. And then I looked it up, and he actually has smaller hands than Purdy. Purdy has 9 1/4 inch hands, and Goff has 9 inch. So that could be part of it. It's weird though because Mahomes has 9 1/4 inch hands too, and he doesn't have problems in the rain. But again, I maybe I've said this to you before, but I think a lot of it has to do with palm to finger ratio type of thing. Because I have really big hands, but I have big palms, so I don't palm like a basketball particularly well. I think if you have longer fingers, you have a better chance.
Yeah, longer fingers to do that.
Yeah. But I think there's some of that, but I do think also his offensive line with the Lions right now is much better than it was on the Rams. And I'm going to even say his weapons are better. Can we say that?
I could definitely say that.
Yeah, than the Rams. Because
2,000-yard rushers. You got
Laporta. Yeah, Laporta, Reynolds, who was on the Rams. And then David Montgomery too. Even their second back is better than most Rams running backs of late. So, so I don't think it's the same Goff. And obviously he's built confidence from that. He built confidence beating the Rams.
Exactly. And maybe he wants a little revenge from some of that. So
and he beat confidence beating the Bucks. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like he's going to be totally different and like watch out for Goff,
Yeah.
but to expect the same old Goff that we saw in the Rams, I think is a mistake too. I think
Yeah, no, that's far fetched. Don't do
I think
that.
he's a pretty good. I think he's improved. I mean, I don't think he's Stafford, but I think he's improved.
Yeah.
Well, now I do. He was a tight end. There you go. Chat is blowing up. Well, it's you, Shardall. You're driving it here, baby. We love it. Wow. 24-31. So Lions fans are showing up then.
Oh, yeah.
They travel well in general this year.
You know they'll be there for this shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's only like their second NFC championship game ever. The last one was back in the 90s. Shit, we go to these things pretty much every year. I hate to say it. That sounds awful, but it's facts are facts. We've been, 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2023. So for the last 5 years, 80% of the time since we've had our squad put together for Kyle, I excuse him for 2017 and 2018 because of rebuild and injuries. So Jimmy was out. So, anything else we should talk about? I know you got to get going here soon.
Yeah. I mean, we covered a lot of bases here. I mean, right now it's pretty much go Niners. That's what it is.
Yeah. Give us all right. Well then, as far as the rest of the week, anything you got going on that you want to publicize? Or
in about an hour, I got a show with all things football from a lady's perspective. Sonia, she's on NESSP. I don't know how to really say it. The Northeast Streaming Sports app on Roku. I'll be doing that at 7. Friday, I have In the Hoop with the Let's Talk Sports team at 9 o'clock. Saturday, I start a new show. And well, I started it last week with a friend of mine that we went to broadcasting school together. Big sports fan. It's called the Cheap Seats. It'll be Saturday at 4. Sunday, I do my 2 other shows, The Old Man and the Kid at noon and Sports Madness at 6:30.
There you go. And I just looked at my calendar and realized that I committed to a show in 15 minutes. So I'm glad we didn't.
You better better get going.
And I got to make it here. So, yeah. Okay, she's running late, so that's good. It's Goody from last week, who was the Packers, one of the Packers creators that I had on last week, and she agreed to come back this week, and she, scheduled time, and just make it.
All right, well, you get yourself ready for that. I'm going to call the damn internet company and see what the hell's going on.
Sounds good. Well, thanks everybody who showed up. I'll just say peace, go Niners, and beat those Lions.
Woo-hoo.